he's shaking a little bit too much. It might need to get looked at. What the witnesses saw. I was suggesting a regulation beefsteak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man.
Myself, I was extolling the virtues of particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman.
At the precise moment the firearm was discharged, I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired the English civilian from the back. The cowardly weasel.
I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio.
So you didn't see it. Well, so you, Sergeant Nosa, actually witnessed the vital moment. Alright, hold on. Did not pass through the victim's body, but it was shot in the front. I already see a problem with it. Alright. You saw the split second when the defendant fired the weapon at the victim? Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. That wicked university cadet, sir. Cruel and unforgivable enemy.
What times we live in, when English gentlemen may be assailed in broad light of day.
But that is ridiculous. I didn't shoot anyone. Is that really true, Ryunosuke? Yes, all I did was pick up the gun I saw lying on the floor. After I said hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and sat down drinking some coffee. Then, when I had finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant. When I had noticed the English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it, so I bent down just as I was picking it up. Well, if that's the truth, there's obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. Somewhere in these witnesses' two testimonies, there's a clue as to who that criminal was. There is? Ryunosuke, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witness. Cross-examine? Do it now.
As we've heard, Your Excellency, there's no room for doubt in the testimonies of these witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. It is time to bring this despicable student to justice.
Certainly. The testimony of the court has just heard it eliminates any vestige of doubt. Therefore, it is my grave duty to declare the verdict of this... Yes! Ryunosuke, what in the name of the Emperor is the meaning of this outburst? The defense demands the right to cross-examination.
Dear me, dear me. Let me guess. That Hachimaki headband boy next door told me to do it? How pathetic.
Huh? How did he know?
The prosecution objects. This is clear waste of time. The defense has obviously no experience. How could he possibly carry out a cross-examination?
Objection!
The defense is asserting its right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it is irrelevant.
Oh.
Kazuma is so commanding. Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witness. Alright, this is where the real battle begins, Ryunosuke. But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination. Isn't it obvious? You have to expose lies in the witness's statements. How? You didn't fire the gun, which means what that soldier said had to be a lie. Well, yes, but it just has to be a case of proving it. And the key to doing that is evidence. Right. evidence. All you need to do is present some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves that the witness is lying. Now let's go, Ryunosuke. Don't let them beat you. Alright then, it's all or nothing. Sounded like a slap more than a slam. What the witnesses saw. Alright. I was investigating the restaurant, and myself, I was extolling the virtues of the fine curio. At that precise moment, the firearm was discharged with my very own eyes. The black uniformed cadet shot the Englishman from the back. Alright. E, we're gonna present some evidence. A shot from the front. I'm sorry, but you are super wrong. Ryunosuke, come on. He's sweating bullets. Judge, why is this a thing? All right, come on.
What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Thrusting some photographic print in my mustache.
Inconsistency, sir. I mean, yes. There's a clear inconsistency here.
What nonsense. What this print can't possibly tell us is what we don't already know.
Well, obviously. That, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth.
I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there's no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom.
This is so frustrating. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spell it out would be an insult to the court. Kazuma, what?
What are you talking about?
It's apparent from a single glance at the photographic print presented by the defense that there's a clear discrepancy here with the sergeant's statement.
What?
Sergeant Isanosa.
Yes, sir?
What, sir? The statement you just made was this. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on an Englishman civilian, and from the back, that cowardly little weasel. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir.
Yes!
But no, that just can't be. And why not, cadet? Oh my gosh. Give me a sec. Golly, that's why. This is why I don't like doing visual novels. Because my throat just goes out the window. Because. Take a close look at the print. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound into the chest. Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit was shot the victim from behind. And that's obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it? What? Wait, what? What? There's a baby! What? Well, that explains this, but... What was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but he pushed it back down again. It's his bab. He's a daddy. Certainly, there's a discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa? Yes, sir. Just At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Until this...
It's a baby. He's so cute.
Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were fixated on the delicious La Caravella steak, sir.
What?
The last testimony the court heard was proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant Issa Nosa, did not see the defendant firing a gun at all.
That's absurd.
I think you got an ouchie. The conclusion that we must draw is simple. There's no place for an amateur prosecutor in this grand courtroom. Oh, dang. He is an amateur. There's been a complete turnabout of the mood of this trial. Just from that one discrepancy. So this is what being an ace attorney is all about. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there, he was pointing a firearm directly at the victim's back.
Yes.
But I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it up off the floor. And you, old man, you didn't see the moment the victim was shot either?
Myself? I had already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor.
Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing?
Hunting for treasure.
Treasure?
Indeed. Hoi, Era Koban, my prized coin. On each occasion I visit that restaurant, it is my habitude to place my bosom pocket a particular trinket of interest from my shop, Rasute.
In hope of meeting a rich diner who might buy it from you.
On the day of under scrutiny, it was to the military man that I proffered my Hoi treasure. I believe that he would purchase such a rare find. I did not, but I presented it with a little alternative, and then, after averting my eyes for the briefest moment, it was there no more. Simply vanished.
The Koban vanished? Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. Ugh. Feel a little better after that. Jeez, sorry.
Hunting around under the table, I was, in case mayhap it fallen there, and then it happened.
You heard the gunshot, you mean?
I did indeed, but I heeded it not, for I was concerned only with finding my absconded Hoi treasure. Nothing could distract me.
Out of interest, you did find the coin in the end. Or did you find the coin in the end?
No.
I see.
That lame table day, the precious Hoi Koban was lost to me. No doubt, some unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prize coin for himself.
Did you actually do that? As I am sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon. Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court had just heard was inconclusive. No matter how subservient our government feels, it must be to the British. It would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now. What is your position, Prosecutor Ouchie?
Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will find a wolf at the back. My witnesses have further testimony to make.
Explain.
Upon hearing the next statements, it will become abundantly clear that there is only one person who could have possibly committed this despicable crime. The equally despicable defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
What? He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Ugh. Very well. The court invites the witness to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegations. Is that clear?
As clear as Kiriko glass, Your Excellency.
Yes, sir. At once, sir. Awaiting signal to testify, sir. Excuse me? But there's something or someone peeking out from over your shoulder, I think. Affirmative. The newest member of the Nosa family is to rise up through the ranks, sir, named Aido. It would seem that those strats were a sign of the sergeant being too strapped to afford a nanny. Aido, tension! Your father is about to quell the enemy. Watch and learn, my boy. The true culprit. Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it was almost the same thing.
Yes, the pointing his gun at a foreign nanny was the young lad in black. That much I did see myself did see.
Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present.
Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself.
Therefore, no one other than the black uniformed cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out. These testimonies are certainly compelling. Wait, that's nonsense. The victim, Dr. Wilson, wasn't there alone.
Please, enough with the outburst already.
But there was a woman. There was a young woman at his table. They looking sus. Everyone here must have seen her.
If you call yourself a lawyer, then you'll respect the rules of court and speak accordingly. We are not here to listen to your fantasies. It is evident beyond all reason that the victim was alone at the time of the incident. The prosecution has a photographic evidence to prove this fact. Photographic print of the scene of the crime, counsel? Yeah, there's only one plate. Indeed. Or at the table the victim was dining, taken by an investigator immediately after the incident. As it can be plainly seen, there's only one place set. Certainly, based on the appearances of this print, it would be reasonable to conclude that the victim was not in the company of anyone else. But if we recall the non-sworn-in witness, he seemed a bit sissy. There was totally only one person there. So, I'm gonna think he cleaned up after the woman did some bad stuff. So, alright, we'll draw that out, so. This doesn't make any sense. The court will add this new photographic evidence to the record. Okay.
can be seen on the victim's table. All right. I don't understand. What's going on here? You're being set up. It's just not possible no one else was there. It's just not possible no one else saw that woman. The waiter before you said the same thing. He maintains that Dr. Wilson came to the restaurant alone as well. But that's not true. I saw her. I swear I saw a woman with him. It would seem that we would be able to telegraph the report to Great Britain on time after all. The witnesses' testimonies we have just heard have no room for... Oh my gosh.
These are sensitive political times, we all know. The ink is still fresh on the treaty with Great Britain. To think that Ouchie, will have contributed to the enmity of these two great empires is an honor.
How can this be happening? The judge is already ready to rule. Stand tall, Ryunosuke. It's not over yet. What? If what you say is true, then there's something going on behind the scenes. And now's your chance to expose it, to draw out the truth. And your cross-examination. I don't know, Kazuma. The defense is entitled to cross-examine the witness, but make it quick, understood?
Rules can be so unbending at times.
Ugh. Alright, the true culprit. Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment, it's almost the same thing. I'm sorry, you want to talk more.
Yes.
No. It's not the same thing at all. For the start, I didn't fire that gun. We have a difference in opinion on that. The opinion of a uniformed officer versus that of a fledgling cadet. I don't think so.
Consider this, defendant. Just a moment ago, I blinked.
Did you?
Did you see it? Did you see me blink?
How could I?
And yet, it's an undeniable fact that I did blink. So, there you have it.
What? That's not admissible in court. What? Tension! The sound of a firearm rang in my ears. The very next moment, I saw you waving the gun at the Englishman.
I think that says it all, don't you? And let us not forget that the antique dealer witnessed the accused in this most incriminating position as well. Is that not so?
Korikuda, you know what? The old man.
Yes, pointed his gun at the foreign man. He was that young man in black.
Damn it, I did see myself. Yes, it may be true that I was holding the gun at that point in time. But I've told you already, that's only because I picked it up off the floor.
Well, obviously, as the culprit, that's the only way you could explain it away.
I just finished drinking my coffee and I was about to leave the restaurant when I noticed a gun on the floor at Dr. Wilson's feet, so I picked it up. And at that exact moment, bang. A gunshot rang in my ears.
Huh, full of events beyond our control, life is.
Sorry? What do you mean?
In your case, you found a pistol on the floor and picked it up,
why do you have a knife? That should not be allowed in a courtroom. Well, then again, our friend has a sword, so I guess it's a thing. Precipitated the
testing predicament, whereas conversely, I failed to pick up the kaban from the floor and find myself equally testing predicament as a result.
What?
Anyway, the fact remains. Myself, I did see you. With pistol in hand, standing over the ford.
Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present.
Yes!
You must have noticed someone else at Dr. Wilson's table. There was a lady there.
Objection!
As you've been at pains to point out time and time again, I feel I'm growing a callus in my ear.
I don't want to think about that. Oh, jeez.
And yet, no one else appears to have even caught a glimpse of this woman.
If only there had been more people in the dining there at the time, then someone else would have noticed her. Unfortunately, it's already past 2 p.m. when it happened. Quiet time between lunch and dinner in any restaurant. I know, of course, the place was almost empty. It's what you'd expect. Certainly, 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of time to eat. Oh, no, I eat at very weird times. 2 p.m. for lunch is kind of a norm for me. I wonder if there was any reason why the victim was eating there at that time of day and why he was alone.
Yes, Your Excellency, there was indeed a reason.
There was?
This was found in the victim's jacket pocket.
What was that, Counsel?
It's a medical report card, Your Excellency. It seemed that the victim had an appointment at a clinic prior to visiting the restaurant.
The hot... Oh my gosh, really? The Hada Clinic? Alright. Yes, there would be indeed an entry for the date in question. 19th of November, noon past 1 p.m. The very day of the incident.
The victim was there for a late lunch following his appointment. That explanation couldn't be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this as evidence before, as it really has no bearing on this case.
I wonder. What do you think, Ryunosuke? Well, it's hard to see how it could be related, really. Remember, you can request it to be entered into the court record as evidence if you think it could be useful. Should I ask Dr. Wilson's bearer report card? Yes!
Yes!
You don't have to raise your hand. If I may, I'd like to ask for that medical report card to be submitted as evidence, Your Excellency.
On what grounds? The court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. Additional evidence would be extraneous. Not to mention that the victim's movement prior to his arrival at the restaurant are of no concern.
Oh, no, that's why he was there later.
Objection!
Whether or not they are a concern is up for us to decide. We have a right to explore all possible avenues.
I beg your pardon?
You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for a submission of evidence. Very well, the court will grant the defense's request.
Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. It's a most disturbing trend.
Well, a right's a right, whether or not you like it, you ouchie. I was gonna say something else. If only a lot of different people would understand what a right is. Golly. Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report card to the court record. I mean, for crying out loud. Hey, people want to add rights to things that aren't actual rights and then ignore rights that actually exist. All right, what we need to do is look at, well, we're gonna definitely look at this. Can I, no? Golly, fine. What we need right now is new clues. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first. Right, I hear ya.
You can conspire to prolong this trial as much as you'd like, but it's the day after the festival's already for you. Put that fan away. Or perhaps you'd forgotten that these witness testimonies leave no room for doubt.
People are fallible. Ouchie.
Feel free to reiterate for the accused, Kurataka-san.
Alright, well... Indeed alone... Well, that's actually new, so... Wasn't it? Therefore, there's no other black uniform cadet. Wait. Hold on. Okay, I can do WASD. No personnel present. Indeed, alone, the Englishman was dining all by himself.
Yes!
So you actually saw that with your own eyes, did you? The victim, Dr. Wilson, dining alone.
That I did. Forgive me for the position I placed you in.
I would like to say that's full of baloney.
So the testimonies from the old man, the soldier, and the waiter all agree that...
Well, you can't... The waiter wasn't sworn in. You can't use that. You can't use that. That's circumstantial evidence, dude. Golly.
Let us not forget the incontestable evidence we have to support their statements as well. As it clearly can be seen, there's only one single beefsteak on the victim's table, a meal for one.
Well, maybe the woman didn't get anything. You don't know that.
No.
The antique dealer, the sergeant, and the waiter who testified before. It's not possible that they're all lying. But if so, then why? If I'm perfectly honest, I have absolutely no idea. Therefore, no one else other than the black uniform cadet. Alright, we're gonna be pressing that. Why aren't you telling the truth?
What? What did you say, cadet?
I clearly remember. There was a woman sitting across the table from the professor. And as you can see, at least in this picture, we can't really submit it. She doesn't have anything in front of her, so she didn't necessarily have to have anything. Just because there's nothing in front of her, that doesn't mean she didn't sit down. Perhaps one of you may not have noticed. But for both of you to fail to see the professor's dining companion, that's just not possible. See, they look so suspect! They look so suspect! I mean, for crying out loud! Unfortunately for you, the defendant Naruhodo, that's just not the case where these two witnesses alone. Sorry? The waiter who testifies... but you can't use that! You can't use that! Oh my gosh! This game's gonna get me mad. He also said the victims was not alone. Precisely, in other words, you are the sole proponent of this phantom lady. But if such a woman were to be present at the scene, the prosecution demands to see proof. If no such proof exists, then the prosecution demands no further mention of this phantom woman be made. The blatant waste of this court's time. There's nothing I can say to that. I don't know. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. We've gleaned some new information now. Well, yes, but it doesn't change much. I can't see how it brings any real discrepancies to light. I wouldn't be so sure. Let me see that medical report you got before. Oh, you mean this? Yes. This is a brand new piece of evidence, so perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. How exactly? You'll notice that some pieces of evidence bear a magnifying glass. These are ones you may examine. Press space, you can get a closer look. Okay, well I didn't... Oh. See, it doesn't even show that. Oh, well, it's going... Oh, really? You going... Alright, fine. Use the arrow keys, and you can move stuff around. To rotate the evidence in all directions and examine it from all angles. By using WASD, we can examine certain aspects of it. I understand. You can move the crosshairs to hunt for clues that may have been missed before. If the crosshairs start to pulsate, press space to investigate further. So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. See if there isn't something new to be learnt by examining it in more detail. Alright, I'll see what I can do. I need to use all these buttons to inspect the areas of evidence that look suspicious. Alright, so... let's look at this. It says Hada Clinic on this medical report card. I hate clinics almost as much as I hate hospitals and surgeries. Aren't they all the same? Well, I was 5. I got caught. I caught the only cold I ever had in my life. And I remember, even though I felt awful already, I had to have this hideous injection in my right arm. I'll never forget it. Never in my whole life. Most people would give their right arm to only have one cold in their whole life. Anyway, I don't think this clinic is where they treat people for illnesses like that. Let's keep looking for clues. We don't want to miss anything. True. Alright, well, there's nothing there. Oh, well, let's look at this. It looks like this medical report card was first issued some time ago. It's probably a record from a long-term treatment, that's why. With a family doctor, I imagine. Well, I can't imagine going to a doctor, I mean. As long as I'm alive, I'm never consulting one. Well, if you were dead, there'd be no point. So, you don't like doctors then? Why do you? They make you drink horrible-tasting medicine, they give you painful injections. And then they demand lots of money from you for the privilege. All while you're at your lowest ebb. You sound like a model patient. With a bad case of stubbornness, Celeste, for which the only cure is a very healthy curiosity. Okay. So I don't think that's showing up, but I got an achievement. For which the only cure is a bitter medicine indeed. Alright, well, there's an obvious thing here. Alright. Well, is there... Okay, no. Let's have a look. This is some kind of medical history. Ah, and then there's an entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction of molar with topical anesthesia. Extraction of molar? You mean he had a tooth taken out? It would seem so. Just before the incident, he had a bad tooth removed. Perhaps they used laughing gas. That's the most modern practice in the West for pain relief. Yes, I've heard of this anesthesia. Although it's hard for me to believe there's anything that can actually stop you feeling pain. Ah, there's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink besides water for 3 hours post-procedure until anesthesia effects have passed. Really? Sounds like information worth bearing in mind. Well, there we go. We got our evidence. With this new information, the meaning of one particular statement totally changes. So, I think it's time we listen to that testimony again, don't you? Definitely. Alright. Pointing the gun, furthermore, visual personnel present. Indeed, all by himself. I think it's Well, where do we... I think it would be this. Because there's no way he would be alone. Oh, gosh. I'll present it here, but I might get smacked. I don't really know if this is going to be what...
Yes.
Well, I think,
What are you whittering, lad? You call yourself a lawyer?
I wish I could. But first and foremost here, I'm the accused. Ryunosuke. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. I could see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully. You knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. Alright, and thanks for the advice. Kurakuda-san. This is the medical report belonging to the victim.
I see, and I don't see. What of it, boy?
Comparing to what is written in the report card with your witness statement. Something clearly doesn't add up.
Attention.
Dear me, have you forgotten my word so soon, you amateur?
Sorry, what?
And you are not to interrupt the court's proceedings with your amateurish drivel.
But
Let's see if I can explain it in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may not have done before that time is completely irrelevant.
that's not true. Ugh. But that's, Remember, Ryunosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point.
Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. There's surely no need to prolong this trial further. The witnesses' testimonies in this court has been heard clear and concise. The medical report card has no bearing, on the matter at all. And for that simple reason that there is no one else besides this pale-faced pupil who could have perpetrated the crime.
This medical report card has nothing to do with the case? Can you really believe that?
What? That outburst half petrified me, boy. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant?
Perhaps because Hata Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic.
A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean mean something to me?
Perhaps if I told that the victim had just had a tooth extracted.
What's this now?
And furthermore, if I told you as a result the victim had been forbidden from eating.
Just what are you trying to say, Cadet? He had orders not to eat, so what?
It's written all up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off.
What? No, that can't be.
Or that can't. Kurakuda-san.
What, boy? What?
Just as you heard. When he was killed sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all.
No!
Oh, golly, the voices. Additionally,
There's more?
you have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. There you go. That cannot possibly be the case. Because the victim, as we know now, now know, just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthetic. Ah! Expertly done, partner. The baby.
Objection!
What is this nonsense? You little upstart! These are baseless accusations. Just look at this photographic evidence. You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table.
Objection!
That means there's someone sitting there eating it. Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic?
Ah! How dare you!
I think it's fair to say the tables in the restaurant in this case have turned. Wouldn't you agree, Ryunosuke? Yes, most definitely. So having undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one crucial conundrum. Who in fact was pictured eating the pictured beef steak? Also drinking the wine. The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel? Counsel? Oh, that means me, doesn't it? All right. And this question's going to be pivotal. This is going to start turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. Got it. So, the person eating the steak at the victim must be the victim himself. No, the two witnesses as yet unknown third party. Because that woman. Obviously, it could only be someone else who was sitting at the professor's table.
Objection!
Will you not let this go, will you? There was no such person!
There was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. We have all the evidence of a half-eaten steak on the table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witnesses' testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through with its ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial, relentlessly. Kazuma.
Are you insane? You would take on the government?
Don't worry, Counsel. I have no issue with you.
What do you mean?
I have issue with them, those two witnesses in the stand. Well, technically 3, but he can't testify.
What? What are you talking about?
You have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. Well, we have. So, if it turns out the two of you deliberately lied giving your testimonies, obviously you will be charged with perjury.
Perjury?
And since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit with the killing.
Complicit? Murder? No!
Negative! There was no mention of this at the tactical meeting. I was just following the orders.
That's right, as the man says. Just say you never saw the gentlewoman. What they were told us.
Thank you for admitting that in court.
Oh.
What? What did you just say, Kurotaka-san?
No.
You were just following orders?
Now, hold on, lad. I was,
Say you never saw the gentlewoman. Ugh. When you say gentlewoman, you mean... you saw the victim with a lady from overseas. What?
Objection!
What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements? Is this true, you pair?
Why are you leaving the little toddler out of it? Just one. Just one simple slip of the tongue. Order, order. Council, explain what's going on here. Sorry. Golly, I've been recording for almost 2 hours, so it's a thing. It's painfully clear now. You tried to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth.
Absolutely not. The prosecution knows nothing of this.
Well, you need to work on it. That slap on the desk. Then who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouth shut?
Well,
That's classified. So you're prepared to be tried as conspirator to this murder, are you? You wouldn't. This can't be happening. Ryunosuke, judging from the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they're sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. However, I don't believe Ouchi had any idea about it. What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there had to be there's only a handful of possibilities. It'd only have to be the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. Well, any ideas of who might be behind this? If we can affirm who tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. So we need to name whoever it was who tried to make who try to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut. Of course, we'll need evidence before we make any firm accusations. Evidence that proves whoever it was really did wield his or her power here. But how? How can we possibly? Remember how we made progress before? Before? We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found a clue as a result. Oh yes, that's right. Well, that's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything and make sure there's nothing we've missed. Like the card? There's no time to lose. I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe.
Please, wait. Your Excellency, I had no idea of any of this, I swear. Every Shinto. I knew nothing.
I know nothing. Nothing. Sorry, that was Schultz from Hogan's Heroes.
And what does the defense to say about this,
Well, Your Excellency, time to think. Just gonna have to close my eyes and shout with the first name that comes to my head. Beside the prosecution, the only person with the necessary influence to manipulate these witnesses is... It's gonna be this guy. So, let's roll. Well, surely that would be Satoru Hosonaga-san. Hosonaga-san? The waiter who took the stand earlier? Yes.
Poppycock! What possible reason could the waiter have made these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that the head waiter could not have possibly had that level of influence.
Alright, hold on. I want to look at the court record. I want to examine this dang thing and then flip it. Well, let's look at it real quick. This is the plan of the restaurant raises a number of questions, I think. Definitely. I suppose to show relative positioning of everything in the moment following the incident. But there's nothing to show the woman you say you saw there. Exactly. And that's not all. Look there in the upper left where it says kitchen. Oh, yes. What of it? No one would he'd use those complicated characters to write kitchen, especially if they were in a hurry. You mean you really don't remember those characters yourself, don't you? Study harder, Ryunosuke. Chief Inspector Saruto Hasanaga. Yep. Well, that's unexpected. What is? Look, do you see it says the witness's name here? Saruto Hasanaga. Well, yes. Business cards tend to show a person's name. That's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected. It's his job title. His job? Oh! Chief Inspector Saruto Hasanaga? Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau? Inspector? What on earth? I have no idea. But let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence, if they're wielding it somehow here. Alright, yes. Well, I knew he was suspect. For once, I agree with you. If, that is, the man were truly a waiter.
What? If you truly were?
Come on, Ryunosuke. I'm sorry. I'll try to... I don't know if I'll be able to edit all of these random coughs out because they just kind of come out of nowhere. Time to hit the court with the truth. The truth about Saruto Hasanaga's real identity. It's this evidence.
Yes!
The plan of the restaurant sketched by the man in question? I agree it shows a great deal of attention to detail, but I'm not sure we can conclude anything. Sorry, Your Excellency. That's the back of the card. It's the back of the card that's of interest. I beg your pardon? Ryunosuke, come on. Or perhaps I should have said the front? Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is. What? Oh my gosh, Ryunosuke, come on. Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say? Hasanaga-san sketched up the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front side of the business card it reveals this man's question's profession, his true profession. The waiter's profession? But that's surely... Good gracious! That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau.
What? The waiter is a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before?
The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power, absolute power, as far as regular civilians are concerned. So, witnesses there in the stand. Was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen a foreign gentlewoman at the scene? Well... There he is. Inspector Hasanaga! Why are you playing some Transylvania music there? You gonna see Dracula at some point? I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well, Is there a problem? Hand the plan over to the court officer at once. Of course. Here you are. Yes, I remember now. He did act strange when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It is my guiding principle. but I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake.
So you mean to say you really are a detective?
But why would a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Of course. Oh, this is Sally. I was working undercover. Undercover? Yes. There have been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents? That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide. Very well then, Inspector Hosonaga, but you will have to elaborate on one point further for the court. Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard new information that from these two witnesses beside you, that in the times of the shooting there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would also have to be aware of this person's presence having served the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner. Therefore, I am led to assume that your professional capacity as a police officer, you are required these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct? Correct, Your Excellency. Unbelievable! As I suspected. As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what happened. The victim was slumped in his chair, and beside him, a gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite of the victim at the same table was a young lady, whom I guessed to be an Englishwoman. So the truth comes out. I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the Bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say, remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once? It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if the Englishwoman was the killer? I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishwoman had been Englishman had been murdered on our soil. To name the Englishwoman as the primary suspect, well, with irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case. But it's not right. Yeah, keep sweating over there, Ouchie. One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean, Kazuma? Yume University is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain. And I'm fairly certain that one of them, studying in the medical facility's research laboratory, is a young Englishwoman. What? You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean, when I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it was prudent to check her identity first. The court demands you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The Englishwoman is sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Jezebel, or not Jezebel, Jeziel Brett. She's indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of UMA University's medical facility.
What? What is happening here?
I admit that under orders from Police Bureau, I erased all evidence of the lady's presence at the scene, and ordered that these witnesses make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must be up to Your Excellency to decide how to deal with this situation. Very well. My thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particular critical premise. Namely, the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered, that premise is false. It would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point. Ouchie, shush.
But Your Excellency, that would mean missing the noon deadline of a ruling in order to send telegraph report to Great Britain. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions.
Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country or any other to influence the proceedings of my courtroom. Thank you, Judge. Inspector Hasanaga? Yes, sir? You will locate this Jezebel Brett and escort her to the courtroom with utmost urgency. At once, Your Excellency.
But that means you're going against the special orders that you were given for the Police Bureau.
As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. So it won't be a problem? Oh, don't die on us. Nothing will get in my way. Well, at least you gotta smile about it. Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution will call the English student Jezebel Brett to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear?
Yes. Your Excellency!
Oh my gosh. Good. Then we will have a 30-minute recess before reconvening. Oh my gosh. There's so much going on. To be continued. Okay. I'm definitely going to be breaking this up into multiple videos. So, what I'm going to be doing is I'll leave this up to you guys. Because, golly, I don't know how much longer we've got in this, but, if golly, 2 hours to do this much. Almost. Jeez. I've had to, like, have a moment a couple of times where I coughed quite considerably. I also need a break. So I'll leave this up to you guys. If you want to see me play through this game, or at least play through the rest of this trial, or anything like that, just let me know. Just like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. And if you guys want it, I will definitely be looking at bringing it into the fold of things. Hopefully. Golly. It's crazy when you have an LP that's... when you want to have certain things released and you're like a month behind. Not really by choice, but hey. If I do add this into the realm of things being uploaded, which is possible, what I'll do is I'll be doing this like once a week, so I'm not killing my throat, because golly, this is gonna be a thing. And I'll be doing it like I'll record, and if it's court, then I'll be going till it says to be continued, like it just said here. But otherwise, I'll just record a video and then upload it, and we'll do it a video by video. So this is completely blind if it wasn't obvious. So don't spoil anything, because I do. This was fun. This was a lot of fun, and I want to see more of it. But I'm gonna leave it to you guys to see whether or not this is recorded, or I'm gonna just be playing it on my own. Who knows? Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in the next game night, or maybe in the next one for this particular game. Who knows? I'll see you guys then. Later.